Hey guys, I'm thinking we're live. Let me just check. As always, like to make sure that there we are. So, welcome everyone. I'm really excited for you to be here with me tonight. I am sorry I didn't get information out ahead of time to let everybody know that I was going live, but I am doing lives every Thursday night at 5 p.m., with the exception of next Thursday night. I don't believe because of the holiday. I think a lot of people will be traveling. So I am planning something really special for you guys next week in place of a live stream. So just watch your inboxes, or if you're not on my email list, get on my email list, reach out to me, message me, and I'll make sure that you get on my email list so that you can get that special gift. But anyway, like I said, I'm really excited to talk about this subject because it hit me the other day about talking about it, because today we're diving into something that I think really makes or breaks your success in Liberty training, and that is the difference between technique versus communication. And if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but something's still missing, this live stream is really for you, because I think when I talk to people, there's a combination of someone knows technique, but maybe they don't understand communication, or maybe they understand communication, but they don't know technique. And then there's those people who don't know either one, and then you're really in trouble, right? So it's a lot harder for you to figure this out. For those of you that are do-it-yourselfers and trying to figure it out, uh, you know, I think that having a clear understanding of communication versus technique is going to help you a lot. So if you guys could just go into the comments real quick and let me know if you are here with me tonight and where you're from, where you're located from. And I'm just going to make sure that I get everybody tagged here, let them know that we are live and we're talking about technique versus communication. So, of course, my internet's moving a little bit slow here today. It's been moving slow lately. I have a feeling everybody has been on the internet lately. So just bear with me. But anyway, so let's aha, I found it. Good, I am. Hey, Bonnie, how you doing? Grand Forks, North Dakota. Love to see that. And I'm just going to tag people here. Just bear with me. Make sure, just because I didn't get getting it out there ahead of time like I planned on it. There. Just tagged everybody. Hopefully that tag worked. Let's see. Where else is everybody from? Anybody else? Look like we had... Nope, we got a few people watching, but okay. Well, at least I know you can hear me okay, you can see me okay, and let's dive in and talk a little bit more about defining your technique and your communication, and what's the difference between the two. So let's talk about these two concepts and what they are first, and really then we can go into a little bit more about, hey, Lisa, I see you there. Then we can go into a little bit more about how they affect our training. So what is technique? Technique is what most people focus on. It's what most people tell me, I need a step-by-step. I have no idea what to do, how to do it first. And yet when they have that step-by-step, people struggle when they try to do it on their own. So what is that step-by-step? Step-by-step is, it's the steps or the tools, the methods. For example, how you ask your horse to back up or circle around you, or how you ask them to maybe pivot their hindquarters. That is all technique. And the communication side is the why. It's the connection. It's about the relationship, the trust, understanding the understanding between you and your horse, and really it's how your horse interprets what you're asking. And it's also, so I want to make sure I point this out, it's about you being present and aware and observing what your horse is trying to tell you. if your horse is telling you they don't understand, or if your horse is telling you they're frustrated, or if your horse is telling you they're bored, or any number of things that they're telling you. Maybe they're telling you that they want to be in charge of that situation or that relationship. And this communication is a two-way street. And both of them, both communication and technique are important, but they really serve different purposes in your Liberty journey. And again, I think most people focus on techniques and they forget about communication. And I think we're seeing a shift in the horse industry where, with the advent of horsemanship, we knew that that was a lot of there was a lot of technique that went into that, and technique that changed the way people treated horses compared to the way they treated them before. But now, fast forward even beyond that, we're advancing that and adding that two-way communication. So no longer is it just one-way communication, one way to tell a horse, to communicate to a horse. Now we have to listen to the horse, and so that's why technique alone is really not enough. And let's talk about why focusing only on technique can hold you back. If you rely completely on technique, your horse may perform the movements but lack true engagement or enthusiasm. If it's just about trying to do the technique and not really listening to the horse and rushing through it, we forget and we miss the communication. We don't understand, and we miss those subtle cues that the horse may give us, like hesitation, or maybe there's discomfort in something because they don't understand, or frustration. So let me talk about working with Diego. I've been working with my quarter horse buckskin quarter horse Diego. And this is just a perfect example, as I started teaching him how to canter at Liberty, all of a sudden he didn't understand. We had done it on the lead rope many, many times, but now it was off the lead rope and I was asking him for something new and he didn't understand. And so he left me, and then he came back right away. And this was a while ago here, but he when he left, he continued to do that every time we went through the process, and I would ask him to canter and he would continue to do that. Now, I could have said, I could have been upset with Diego and been frustrated with him, except I began to read him and say, he's not leaving because he doesn't want to do this. He's not leaving because he doesn't like it. He was leaving because he just simply didn't understand. And I had to read that and give him that understanding with that two-way communication, that he was trying to tell me something. And so I went back and I put the halter and lead rope on him and asked for the very same thing. And I did it 3 separate times from there with the halter and lead rope on. And then I took the halter and lead rope off, and he was perfect, because he then understood what it was I was asking for. And it was because I was open to interpret that, and I was open to listen to what he was trying to tell me. You want a horse that connects with you, not one that complies out of obligation. And I didn't want to force him to do it at Liberty if he didn't understand it. So I had to go back and help him to understand something as simple as just cantering that we've been doing many, many times, but he just in that moment just didn't understand it. So what happens when we shift the focus to communication, and we shift it to not just the set of techniques of step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this, get into a canter and reward a quarter of a circle. And these are all parts of it. Absolutely they are. But if we're ignoring the communication, we can have misunderstandings, and that could easily been a misunderstanding with the wrong person. So when your horse understands what you want and they understand you and your communication being clear and consistent, you also have an obligation to understand their communication. And when you have that, training becomes more of a dialogue rather than a monologue, right? Two-way communication. That's why we all love social media, because it's two-way communication. It's not just one-way communication. People can comment back. And that's really a cool thing, that we have this way to communicate. But if we get to this point where we're so hyper focused on the steps, the techniques to get there, and we forget about the communication, look, we're just going to frustrate our horse. So clear communication helps your horse feel confident because they know exactly what you're asking. So, and of course, when you communicate effectively, your horse will want to participate because they feel heard and they feel valued. So in the example of Diego, and I took his halter and lead rope and put it back on him and worked with him and then took it off, all of a sudden he stayed with me. And that was the motivation he needed. He needed that motivation. He got the reinforcers for it. He realized, yes, that is what I wanted, what I was asking for. I reinforced that behavior before I ever took the halter and lead rope off. So let me know out there, just real quick, are you feeling like you're having some communication difficulties with your horses and maybe some misunderstandings in that communication? So if you think you're having some misunderstandings in that communication, this really helps me to understand where people are coming from. Type communication in the comments for me. I'd really like to see how many of you feel like your communication, your two-way communication struggles with your horse. Maybe you're focusing more on technique and doing the technique correctly. Here's the key. It's not about choosing one over the other, though. It's about finding a balance. We really need to start with communication, and before you teach a technique, ask yourself, does my horse trust me? Do they understand what I want? Is my communication clear? Is it consistent? Is my sequencing clear? Is my body language exactly the same way this time as it was last time? Does my body language make sense? Do my tools make sense as far as how I'm using them? My tactile cues, my footfalls, are they all in the right position? Am I making sense with this? Because maybe, just maybe, my horse doesn't understand. Is there a way that I can help my horse to understand? Is there a way that I can show them the answer? So Bonnie says, communication, absolutely struggle with it. Yeah. And I think communication is one of the biggest struggles for people. So thank you. Thanks for being honest and getting in there and responding. Once you have communication, refine your technique, match your horse's learning style. Like I said, is help your horse to find the answer. How can I help them find the answer? Well, here's an example. I'm teaching Diego how to lay down. And every step within the lay down is a separate individual step. And when I'm asking for the back legs to come in, he puts his head up, or he steps forward. And in order to show him what I want in that communication, I have to refine my technique. And instead of making my cues stronger or louder in that situation, because he just simply doesn't understand, I just need to help him to understand. So if he steps forward, I might back him up a little bit and put his legs back in the same position that they were in. Or if he puts his head up, I might reach over and grab the halter and lead rope and ask him to bring his head back down instead of tapping on his belly again. Because if I'm tapping on his belly, that is really the third step in me asking them to lay down. It's the third step, because initially my first step is just to crouch my body. My second step is just to bring my cue whip down and start tapping the ground. And my third step would be to tap the belly to get progressively louder from there. But uh, I might help him out in that situation to find the answer so that I don't have to get so loud with my communication, and I can keep it as light as possible. Because, a lot of times it's just, there's a lot of times where they just need to have some time to think about it and some help with finding an answer. So, you know, watch the feedback loop where you can give your horse, observe how your horse responds, their body language, and they're going to tell you if they're engaged, frustrated, bored, or confused. But look for ways to reinforce the behavior in that communication. So let's talk a little bit before we shift some gears here. Let's talk a little bit about some examples besides Diego, how it might work for you and your communication and your techniques, and combining them and balancing them. You're asking your horse to circle around you, whether it's just on a lead line or at liberty, doesn't matter. And let's just say your horse hesitates, that you've asked and they hesitate. Ask yourself, is it because they don't understand the technique? Or are you unsure of your communication? Maybe you don't know how to ask the same way every time properly. And take a step back and really look at that and say, is my technique consistent and is it clear? Is it going to make sense to the horse when I'm asking? And then when you can be consistent, you can have consistent expectations. And your horse will understand as long as you're consistent. So let's just say your horse stops in the middle of lunging, for example. So instead of correcting them immediately, I want you to think about, and sometimes there is the more experience you have, the more it's easier to understand whether the horse truly doesn't understand, they're confused, or there's some other breakdown in our connection, or they just simply like, hey, I'm just asking a question, can I stop, because I'm maybe don't want to do this right now. And so you really have to evaluate that. Sometimes they have to do it even if they don't want to. It's like we send kids to school, we have to learn how to do these things. But I want you to think about that. And here's some tips that you can apply right away. Spend time just watching your horse's body language. It's the foundation of communication. There is no better way to learn about body language than to work with a wild Mustang. And I've really been thinking about this a lot lately because I'm doing another extreme Mustang makeover and working with another wild Mustang. And the communication that takes place between the two of us, I'm actually talking about it tomorrow in full depth in my my group. I have a group training call tomorrow in my full program, and I'm planning on sharing video and some of the two-way communication between myself and this Mustang. There is no better way to learn about body language and be more aware of your own body language than when you are working with a wild Mustang. Every moment that you are there with that Mustang, because they're a prey animal, and a domestic horse is the same. They're not as flighty as a wild Mustang at first, but they are observing every move you make, whether you lean in, whether you lean away. All of this communicates something. Leaning away takes more pressure off. Leaning in means I'm coming in a little bit closer. And if I lean in and take a step with my foot, that might be too much. So I might have to just ladder it in, meaning lean in, wait a few seconds, then move my foot, wait a few seconds, move my other foot, wait a few seconds, move my arm, wait a few seconds, depending on the horse. But I'm constantly watching the horse's body language. If I put my hand up there to my Mustang, and she pulls away like this, I know she's telling me I'm not interested in your touch, but I'm not leaving either. I'm not leaving, but I'm not really interested. But I just sit there and I just wait. And I just hold my hand there and I wait for them to come back. And when she comes back, guess what? Then I'm going to respect what she told me, because she also respected what I asked of her, is to come back and look at me. And then instead of getting, where I'm asking too much, then I'm going to put my hand down and I'm going to lean back and remove that pressure. Or I might just look away. I might even walk away, depending on where I'm at in the training process. But there comes a point in time where I don't walk away, and I need to push it a little bit more. Otherwise, they don't get gentled, and we do have to go a little bit beyond what they feel comfortable with sometimes, to show them. We have to teach them to like human touch. They don't inherently know to like human touch, just like seals. Sea lions, they don't inherently like human touch, but they have to be taught to like human touch. And then all of a sudden we see them at places like SeaWorld and doing tricks and cool things. And so we have to have two-way communication in order to get that far. But so number two, though, simplify your requests with your horse. And I've said it over and over and over again: small approximations, smaller steps. That's going to ensure clarity in your communication. Be consistent and be clear. That clarity is what's going to help build the confidence in your horse. And then make it a habit of asking for a response and waiting to see how your horse interprets it until you get really experienced and you've kind of seen it. But I want you to evaluate. Like I had to evaluate with Diego and say, is Diego just being naughty, or is he running away because he does not understand what I'm asking of him? And I gave him the benefit of the doubt and said, you don't understand what I'm asking of you. And sure enough, that's exactly what the problem was. So focus on connection. Focus on connection first. A connected horse will make learning techniques so much easier. They want to be there. They know that you're listening to them. They know that you're connecting with them. It's all about the connection. It's all about that communication. So at the end of the day, Liberty training is about building a relationship. And technique only gives you tools, step-by-step tools. But communication really gives you the bond. And when you can combine the two and balance the two, that's when the magic happens. So if you've ever felt stuck trying to perfect a technique, but you're still not getting the results you want, or if you've been frustrated and it feels like your horse just doesn't understand what you're asking, that's exactly why I created my Liberty training program. In the program, I teach you not only the techniques that work, the step-by-step, but also how to communicate so that your horse feels motivated and connected to you. It's not about doing more, it's about doing it differently. And I'll guide you every step of the way. And every step so that you understand the balance between that communication and those techniques. And for the first time ever, I'm really excited about this because I'm offering a payment plan to make this program even more accessible to people who want to learn Liberty with their horses. So 4 monthly payments of $167. This includes 6 virtual coaching sessions, weekly feedback videos, and 3 incredible bonuses to ensure you and your horse have everything you need to succeed. It will help you with that communication and help you with your connection. But just know this is a special offer and it's only available for a limited time until Sunday. That's all you have to make that decision. And so if you're ready to finally achieve true liberty with your horse and build the kind of partnership you've always dreamed of, this is your chance. And 2025 is around the corner. So we need to be making those plans now. So click the link below in the comments. I'm going to put it in there. And go ahead, look at the details, and take your first step towards transforming your relationship with your horse. And let's make the rest of 2024 the start of something incredible and really get you to reach your Liberty goals. So thanks for joining me tonight, guys. We'll see you later. Have a great Christmas.